Right, so we should be live now. We are now on the Indie Takeover number 2. We have new guests here today. We have Hero DarkyDark, we have
Howdy.
Daniel, and we have another guest who will be here. He's running a little bit late, which is no big deal, and that is Kris Faction. And we're going to go over some of their awesome projects and everything that they're working on and promote it and see what's going on. So first, Hero DarkyDark, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Hey, greetings, everyone. This is Hero DarkyDark, the hero you don't need but deserve, here to give content to all. And I'm just working on a couple of comics, and yeah, that's just me.
Awesome. So I have taken a look at this and it looks really awesome style-wise. And I'll share the screen in just a second. So I want to make sure the audio isn't going to loop and echo. So what made you want to do a comic about this and in this style as well?
Oh well, like a lot of boys, I end up watching Dragon Ball as a kid, so I was always into that. I guess you could say I'm a very action oriented guy. So if you have like a lot of action, how's that?
Oh, you're good. Go ahead.
But yeah, if you have like a lot of action,
I'm getting an echo.
Ah, shoot.
yeah, I'm about to say
All
that.
Let me do this. All right, try again.
Yo. Okay,
There we go.
All right.
Yes, did it.
Yep. I see. I've always been like drawn to action. So, when I was younger, if you had something like action, so I watched things like Justice League Unlimited and that stuff. And so, of course, nowadays I'm more into things like My Hero and such. And so, of course, that kind of thing just kind of stick with you. So eventually, as you grow up, you just like, hey, I want to do that. And so I just started crafting my ideas, both from like things I'm currently into, while also mixing ideas I had since I was a kid, and just making a story. Yeah, I'm more of a let's just have some fun kind of guy. So what it is like story and like something that there's really is stuff to like gnaw your teeth into. I'm kind of just like, hey, let's just have fun. I'm reading a comic book. Why should I not enjoy myself?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Awesome. I like how you started off with Dragon Ball. That's kind of where I started too. I was like, oh, this
Usually
is
that's how
cool. What
most
is
people
this?
started.
Awesome. All right. So
I like to make a disclaimer. I'm not from South America.
So if you were, hey, no big deal. All right. So your comic is called Relentlessly Bullied Hero. So what inspired you for that name? So it's a very it like tells you a lot, but also you're just like, wait, what's going on?
Yeah. So funny enough, this is actually like the second rendition of the name. The original name of the comic was "My Villain Keeps Bullying Me," but
Oh.
it's one of those things where I was like, after you get along, you kind of just go like, did this title truly represent what I want to get what the vibes of? And I'm just like, it kind of does, but I feel like it leans a bit too heavily on one side to where I want it to be like, okay, yeah, there's a lot of, I could say, sort of wackiness that goes into the series, but there is actual, conflict and stuff into it. And I feel like just having it be my villain keeps bullying me can give out the vibe that it's just all jokes. So it's like, no, there's stuff going on. So I kind of had to change it, and then I kind of just landed on Relentlessly Bully Hill as, well, one, it's a lot easier, so I could put in my Twitter handler. And
there you go.
It's ambiguous enough to where it's like, okay, you're not 100% sure if it's all jokes or if it's an actual
like a serious
play straight thing. So like, okay, it had that good mix of it can be both.
Yes, it does. Because I'm like, this can go either way, and I'm here for that. Because that's like, it's just fun when you get stories and stuff like that. Like, is this going to be a comedy or a serious thing or both? And it looks awesome. All right, so we're going to go over your campaign page.
Yep.
So
this is the second chance campaign.
Second chance.
My first one was successful, but
I know. I'm pretty sure this is a second chance. Awesome. So if you haven't gotten this already, this means you can grab it again, and you have 53 days to go. Plenty of stuff. I love the art for this. I love the colors on this too. It really makes this pop. So do you want to tell us anything about this before I start going into your rewards and what you've got to offer?
Yeah, I can say that. Overall, I know reading through some of the stuff, a interesting question I got asked was if this was going to be like a deconstruction of the heroes. Can they kind of saw like some of the main conflict or plot and stuff? But I actually saw the person that, oh no, trust me, I know that deconstruction of heroes are a little bit played out nowadays, and yeah, I feel like as I look on the story, it's more of a well, it is gritty. It's more of a reconstruction of heroes, as it's more featuring, like new generation people rising up, becoming better heroes, and define their heroism. So it's them building up or rebuilding up the images of heroes, and I just see it as more of a recreation of heroes than deconstruction.
Awesome. So these are some really great pages in your campaign already. Like they flow really well. You definitely captured that manga feel. Like it's just you hit it. You got it. I know it's kind of hard to start off like getting that feel of what manga is, but you got it, man. From the paneling to just the elements of the cinematography. I'm going to call it cinematography because I don't know what else to call it, but just the angles of how you're viewing everything. It adds emotion and depth to what's going on. I like this. This is really cool.
Yeah, it's all thanks to my artist. Me and him, we worked together. Of course, he put in most of the leg room with the art and stuff, but I just give suggestions, go like, hey, how about we try X, Y, and Z, and it's a fun relationship.
Well, a good writer helps an artist immensely, so don't sell yourself short. I love this expression. You can tell already the personalities in these characters is going to be really fun. Oh, this is awesome. I love, we'll go back over your words because I kept seeing those covers, and those are really nice covers. Oh, man.
Thankfully, the cover will be towards the bottom as well.
Awesome. Oh, we let Kris Faction in. Hey, Kris Faction. We're going over your DarkyDark stuff right now, but I'm glad you can make it.
Awesome.
So, yeah, thank you for making it. It's okay.
What's up, Kris?
What's up, man?
Hey, what's up, my guy?
All right. So I like this character already. She looks really awesome.
I know. I get endless questions about it in like every single show. It's to a point where there's been shows where people will ask questions about her, but not even the main guy. I just feel so bad.
I'll ask about the main guy. We'll break that for a little bit here, but she does look badass, and that's like my kind of character I'd be interested in off the bat. So, oh man, I love the action in these panels too. This is this is like getting you riled up just looking at this. There's a lot going on in a good way. I love this. Oh, I like her as well. You got some cool characters going on. Just looking at this. So, all right, let's go back to the beginning here.
Yep.
All right. So let's watch the trailer, and then we'll talk more about this before I get ahead of myself. Because I'm going to just wind up looking at I'm just going to go off on a tangent like, oh my God, this looks cool. So we're going to watch the trailer. Before I hit play and get the audio and stuff going, I'm going to mute you guys and myself just to make sure there's no echo. And that should work. And is there anything about the trailer that we need to know about before I hit play?
Nope, go nuts. You're going to enjoy it.
All right. Sounds good. We'll meet everyone.
As pillars of society, heroism must stand proud, no matter what. Through injury, madness, nihilism, and even death, a hero shall step up and lay their body on the line like those before them. We may fail, but we will never stand down, for it is through our valor and will that society will be purified for a better tomorrow. Oh God, I couldn't hold it in. What is this, Zeal? Your first draft? It's worded so weirdly. And haven't you ever heard of a word limit? Gotta make it snappy and interesting. Let me show you how it's done. Greetings, peasants. The great villainess, cursed sorcerer Grimora is speaking. Welcome to the show of my creation. Featuring Zeal, the hero of our story. Say hi, Zeal. Fantastic. He's a very odd new gen hero I came across and claims he can return heroism to its once prestigious state compared to its current degenerating from. Hard-pressed to believe from his general lack of abilities, but hey, he has spirit. Who doesn't want to see a underdog story? And if he fails, it'll be hella funny to witness. Coming this... Zeal, when is this campaign starting again?
Late January. It's starting late January 2024. And of course it wasn't finished! You just jumped me and stole my journal, you freaking sociopath!
We've got it all. Violence, explosions, my sexy self. So go, give me your money.
You vile woman! You think this is funny? There's no games here, witch! This town is diseased! Rottenness steeped into the soul, and my crusade shall chip it away piece by piece. I swear, by my flesh and bone, I shall—
Enough of that. The gag goes back on.
Wait, this is my story, isn't it? Why am I playing second fiddle here?
There'll be plenty of cool stuff, so go spend your money on relentlessly bullied hero. #1. Any parting words, Zeal?
Really? Well, I stole my hero's mission statement too.
Psych. As pillars of society.
Holy smokes, that was fun. I'm sitting here laughing. I'm like, she is exactly how I imagined her to be just from the artwork alone. This is perfect voice actress for her as well. She owned that.
Oh yeah, it was a joy making it. Because like a lot of people, when you make your trailer, just like, okay, I need to get people as interested as possible. And considering the general tone, like the plot of the series, I was just like, what if I make it a little bit meta and just have it interrupted as, kind of like introduce people like how the dynamic work. Because, of course, how it starts, like, okay, yeah, someone's reading it, just nail it and stuff. And then you kind of just slowly start to realize that, wait, no, this is a narrator. This is someone speaking in a studio. Wait, it sees here, reels the guy, and he just kind of put it together that he basically just broke in mid-session, stole his stuff, tied him up, and then recorded her own.
I liked it. I think it presented the tone of the relationship of the characters. It covered their personality, and it set the tone of what it's about in the same, short period of time. I think it was perfect. I liked it. This is just really cool. So I have a question. So does she have the final say in what he does most of the time, or is she just kind of in the background kind of supporting him or making him second guess on what he wants to do?
I'd say imagine it kind of like a live reality show. Well, it's not that she had the final say, it's just that she just does whatever she wants to make things more entertaining. So if he's chasing down a villain, or if a villain's attack and a guy was running enough to get there, she'll purposely, hold him down or stop him to get the villain time to start running, so that he'll have to chase him, as he'll find out more fun to watch. So
he kind of
just basically making his job harder for entertainment.
So he still gets to do his job, but he kind of has to deal with her antics to do it.
Yeah, so it's less like, okay, she's literally an authority over him, at least when it comes to fighting crime, and more of okay, she basically sees him as more of entertainment for her, and so she just does what she thinks for being more entertainment. And so sometimes that may be purposely hindering him, and sometimes that may be actually helping him out so he can get confrontation. It just kind of depends on what she's feeling like. It's kind of like why in the trailer she was like, yeah, no, this is a show of my creation. And it's kind of like, yeah, things can easily be swayed depending on how she's feeling to help or get in the way of.
Gotcha. Now that's a good relationship between characters right there. I think that tells you a lot about the story, that it's going to be chaotic in a fun way.
Yes, entertaining for us, help for him.
Yes. Exactly. But you know what? It'll be okay. He'll make it through, right? So I'm guessing, is
Yeah.
she the one that relentlessly bullies him then?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. If you go down later to the campaign, you can even see, there's a depiction that she actually did tie him up in a chair
Oh, yes.
in the
Yes.
studio. So
Oh my goodness. This is going to be a wild ride. All right. So let's go over what you have to offer. So you have a digital copy, which is awesome. So if you're tight on money or maybe physical books, you just don't have room for it right now, you can get a digital copy of it, which is nice. Put it on your whatever digital device of choice and read it on the go. I really like this cover. This is a really nice cover. These covers really
I
pop,
love it.
by the way. Like everything about this just ties together nicely.
Oh yeah, I like to let artists cook when they make covers. Like all the time I'll just be like, okay, here's a general idea, here's some characters. Hey, go wild. And most of the time it turned out good results.
So for some reason the image isn't working, but I don't think that's a you thing. I think that might be. Let me refresh this because it might have been when my internet was hiccuping. And of course, when you have things to do, that's what happens. All right, maybe it's the website. But you have another cover, which I think is down here. I can look at.
Yeah,
cover
it'll be
C,
down.
which is really nice as well. I like how this captures the intensity of what he needs to do as a hero. He kind of looks like he's not failing, but he looks like he's in a really tight spot right now, which I like. I mean, not to be mean to him, but
Hey, the word relentless in the
challenge.
title for a reason.
All right, then we'll say it's okay that he's suffering a little bit.
Yes.
I like this cover as well. Oh man, you can see that she's like, I think what works with that one too is she's towering over him. Like she's the dominant one in this like friendship or relationship or whatever.
Oh yeah, that's the way to put it.
And you got some bundles down here, which is awesome. These are all reasonably priced. You got bookmarks, very nice. Oh, I get a sticker. This is really cute. I love it. So this is another sticker. Oh, got a poster. Oh, that's a nice one. Another poster. I really like this poster. This is so cool. And a give me it all packet. All right, you got 3 more pages of some rewards. So you got a ton of stuff to offer. So there's definitely going to be stuff
I do?
everybody.
Oh my goodness. You're
like, wait. You have a lot to offer, which is awesome. That means there's something for everybody. I mean, yeah.
I think that might just be a Fun My Comic glitch.
Okay, never mind then. So we'll just all right. So that is glitching up today. It's Monday. Nothing wants to work right, so no, not a big deal.
Yeah, keep scrolling down so you can see the illustration I was telling you about later. Oh, and the cover.
I like this too. So is she greedy or?
That's so basically her power. She's magic based, and basically her power is. So the 7 deadly sins. Basically, her power lets her go into 7 different forms, and each form grants her like a certain ability for her. And so of course, greed is one of them, and for greed, it's more like kinesis. So things bent to her desire. She brings things towards her. Greedy.
I like it. That's clever. She's being greedy by making things do what she wants.
Yes.
Oh, I like that. There's the covers again. Here we go. This is cover 2 or cover B. I like this. So is he another hero?
Oh no, that's the main villain of the story.
The main villain. Okay.
The villain of this book. Let's say he's the main challenge for Zio because Grimel is the real villain.
So who is worse to deal with? Is it her or the villain?
Define worse. You mean like physically or like mentally? Like on an emotional level?
Poor main character's got a lot cut out for him then. Oh my goodness. So basically he's got like a battle with her, the villain, and oh my goodness.
Yeah, this is why he's not smiling in a lot of these pictures. He
has nothing to smile about. Poor kid. Oh man. So what are his powers like?
It's basically let's say it's a form of style manipulation. So, using shade to hide himself, shadows to attack. I know it's perfect for edgelord. He doesn't call himself an edgelord, but basically everyone who meets him yeah, no, he's an edgelord. So it's basically like an open secret that he doesn't know.
I think it works. Nothing wrong with a well-written edgelord, and I think he is going to be a blast. I like this and the stickers. I love it. All right. There's a lot here. Let me put this in the chat so you guys can take a look at it yourself and watch the trailer again, because that definitely made me laugh. I'm sitting here cackling like a weirdo. This is awesome.
See, I feel like something's missing.
I know.
Did he pass by when he was in that show?
Oh,
did I just forgot to upload it?
Or maybe the website is glitching a bit. Let me scroll slowly. All right,
I
we got our
didn't see
pages. I love the art on this too. Like, there's just a fantastic range of style in this, and I love her laughing. Let's see.
Okay, it would be right above where the rewards are, but I'm not.
Yeah,
so like
not
more
there.
down, but I'll see.
So can she go from like a human form to like a demonic form at will? Or is it something where only he can see that and everybody else sees her as a human?
Oh no, there it is. There we go. And I guess you could say that the horn stuff, that's usually when she's actively using her powers and stuff. So when you see her wings, that's her pride form. And so, of course, wings, you can fly, you're always above people, and other kind of stuff. Great. So everyone else can see those, but of course, this is a world where there are heroes on the side. So it's kind of funny because at times she'll be right next to him, but no one will realize that she's a villain. And so it's kind of just like, so
she's like hidden in plain sight.
Exactly. And so it's kind of like, it's kind of funny because there's a reason why he can't turn her in or like do anything to her just yet, even if he wanted to, but he can't. And so, even sometimes when they're in public, some guy would just be talking to her and just be like, hey, wait, have I seen you before? And, they'll be pointing to the woman and they'll just both be like, no.
So they have to play dumb, basically.
Yep.
And be like, no one's seen her. I like that. Oh, this is awesome. I'm a sucker for these types of character designs too. Like, they're simple, but they're like mysterious, and I like her eyes. So is she like at the end of the book, or?
I say her part is more of a. Of course, the main part is just Zeal, Gamora, and the villain. So he's kind of more like a, I guess you could say, supporting role, but I hate to break people's hearts, but she doesn't have much to do.
That's okay.
At least
your presence is still worth it.
Yeah, she's number 2. She does actually get to do stuff. But.
Awesome. Oh yeah. So when is number 2 coming out?
Number 2 should be coming out this year. The script's done. It's been reviewed, edited. So it's like, okay, just ready to get work done. I just need to wait for my artist to be cleared up, which he should be in like a week or so, and then we can start cooking. And awesome. So far, by the reviews of the people I have who usually read all my scripts, they heavily prefer number 2 over number 1. So if you like number 1, you definitely like number 2.
It's always good because that means you're building up that fan base, and each book is getting better and better and meeting their expectations. That's awesome. Yay. I'm excited then. Oh, that's not easy to do either. So that's awesome.
It is not.
All right. And you did link me a Kickstarter. Oh, before I go on, do you have any other links here? No. Nope. Okay. I think that was it. So do you want to move on to your Kickstarter?
Yeah. So why not?
Make sure we support and get everything you have going on out there. So this is Storm Rail Riders. So this looks fun. It definitely looks different than relentlessly bullied hero. This looks more not as I'm trying to think of how to say it. Not as intense in a way that you feel bad immediately for the main character. This guy looks like he has a little bit more freedom in his life.
Yeah. So have any of you guys played like things like Jet Set Radio or Watch Airgill? Such?
I haven't.
Yep, both.
I haven't played it, but I have seen it. So.
Yeah. So this is basically like very inspired by it. So it's about. So basically, it's about this one guy who's like he's kind of, I guess you could say how a lot of people when you just recently graduated college and go to workforce fields where it's like, oh yeah, you used to have just some such high aspirations, but then you go into work and you get a boss who's a little bit shitty, but you can't quit work just yet and all that stuff. And so he's kind of feeling a little bit, I guess you could say trapped, just weighed down by life, and then. To make things worse, he ends up getting robbed by this gang crew, whoever you say it. And so, after he gets robbed, he finds that they're robbed by these guys who, I guess you can say they pretend to be writers, which is basically what most people call himself. He uses those skates to, do their stuff and stuff. And so the reason why he ended up getting robbed was they were actually fighting with another crew. And then he just ended up getting caught in the middle. He ended up bumping into one of the crewmates of the crew that I was messing with. I know that sounds a little bit confusing, but also you saw it. He ended up basically getting put in the middle of this, crew battle and such, and then he gets robbed because of it. And so that other crew, one of the members finds him afterwards. They were just like, "Oh yeah, it might be, you got caught up in this because of us. Let me help you get your stuff back." And so, see him bites him back to the hideout. They chat, and then he was giving an offer. Well, they were just like, "Hey, look, we can easily just get it back for you, but is that truly what you want?" And then he kind of has to make a choice of, okay, did he just want to keep flowing by life, or does he want to take the chance and actually gain his freedom or basically take back control of his life? And that's basically what number one is.
That's a major choice.
Yes.
Ooh, that sounds awesome. So do you have a different artist for this one, or is it the same artist, or is it just like the same where you have different artists helping you?
Different artists. I'm still a writer, but different artists. So thankfully both can go on without interrupting each other. And I guess I kind of like both series. Like Relentlessly Bullied Hero, just reconstructing heroism, that kind of stuff. This one is just more of not just being free, but defining your own freedom in the world. As of course, it's not as simple as just being, oh yeah, I just do whatever I want, whatever I want. But okay, what does being free to you actually means, and that kind of stuff.
Awesome. It's exciting. I can't wait till that launches. We got 30 followers already. Yes. So if you guys are interested in the Kickstarter for Storm Realm Writers, if you notify you on launch, you basically get an email that it's live immediately, which is awesome because there's a lot out there, and having a reminder is really helpful. I know because I do it all the time. So definitely keep an eye out for this coming out in spring 2024. So that's right around the corner. So you're coming up pretty quick. Very exciting. Well, you are very busy. Oh my goodness.
I mean, hey, since I'm the writer, I say I have I guess a relatively decent amount of free time. So why not just use it to be productive than, what other people do and just be on Twitter all day.
Yeah. Yep. I'm guilty of that. Awesome.
Aren't we all?
Yeah. I'm like, hold on.
I mean, even I fall into that trap. And sometimes I'm just like, no, you got things to do.
Yep. It's always hard to be like, nope, got change focus, change gears. Awesome. We got some cool projects, and I cannot wait to see more coming from you because these look like a lot of fun, which is something I think everyone should do, is bring the fun back into these stories.
Yeah, I go through this a lot, but I feel like that main issue people are suffering from is that they always go into projects trying to be like the next Lord of the Rings or Star Wars. Well, they immediately want to start as this empire instead of just being a piece of media people can enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
Because like these are comics and stuff. Let's be honest. For a lot of people, they don't pick this up, read it like once or twice, and then leave it in the shelf for like X amount of months and stuff. Which, hey, I'm not judging, but like, okay, that's the case. Why am I hyper fixating on this? Where it's like, okay, I'm not even that big of a creator. I don't even have like 1K followers on Twitter and that stuff. Why am I, overthinking things to make like some grand adventure where I can just make a meaningful but fun adventure that people can always go back and look to and enjoy? Because I'll be honest, even my schedule, it's not like I'm always going to read Doom all the time and stuff. Most of the time it's like, hey, let me just watch that Yu-Gi-Oh show, or we watch this Beyblade play and such. Something that I know I'm going to enjoy doing my work. So I'm like, okay, why not kind of create like that?
No, yeah. That makes sense. And when you have something you enjoy, you always go back to it too. And that's what you want. You want your readers to be able to go back and reread it. It's not a one done deal. You always want them to come back and enjoy everything you built for them. So I think this is going to be one of those that people come back to a lot. So, all right. Well, thank you very much for hopping on and sharing this, because this, definitely worth it, I think. Like I said, you got a digital copy. You got physical copies with a variety of covers to choose from. You have packages to choose from, or bundles to choose from, with tons of stuff in there too. So definitely go check it out. Get some stickers, get the bookmarks, just get everything. This looks awesome. And make sure to sign up for his Kickstarter that's coming up in the spring, so you don't miss out on something new. All right. Well, thank you very much, Hero DarkyDark, for bringing this to us and letting us take a look and present it.
It's a pleasure. Thank you for having me on.
Oh, definitely. All right. So we're going to move on to Daniel. We're going to start with his Fund My Comic. We're going to keep it, Fund My Comic centric. So this is...
As it should be.
Yes, as it should be.
Amen.
And I think I've talked about this site so many times. I had to cut like half hour of me going on like a tirade about how awesome it was. I'm like, hold on, video's 2 hours long. We got to cut this down. All right. So I have seen this many times. So it's really awesome. You get to come on and talk about this. So
Thanks.
this is Jisadai. Did I say that right?
Jisadai.
Jisadai. Okay. Jisadai. Apologies if I butcher it again. I'm going to try.
No,
not
it's
to.
okay. It's the loose translation in Japanese is second generation, but colloquially it means next generation.
Ooh, that's really deep. I like
That was
that.
fun.
Yes. All right. So this is a storefront. So I believe you've already funded the first campaign. So now it's kind of like second chance in a way.
It's for the standard issue.
The standard issue? Okay.
When we created the comic, I was thinking, how do I make a campaign worth backing? It's a comic. I was looking for some sort of entertaining edge to make the campaign worthwhile for people to actually back it. And my beloved daughter, as I call her on social media, she brainstormed this idea where we would take specific parts of the pages and just splash them with bright colors. It's black and white. The comic is black and white, but if you can imagine the neon lights in that first panel there in actual color with the rest of it being black and white, it gave it this really interesting splash, and we started calling it color pop. So that's what I'm going to do going forward with all of my issues. When I run a campaign, there is a special edition color pop version of the comic each time. After that campaign is over, everybody purchases black and white only.
Ooh, I like that.
It turned out really good.
Oh,
Yeah, that sounds cool.
yeah, I like that approach.
I think I had,
No, let me
find a good page.
see if I can. There we go. Ooh, that's awesome. So it's black and white, but you got the pop of color.
Yeah.
I like that.
just specific things. Some people's clothing. We did the main character's sword slash towards the end when his circumstances change and he sort of what would be considered the unlocking of power happens. And we changed that and gave it a color pop. It also has a special effect that's drawn in, but we gave that a color pop just because it looked phenomenal. And yeah, it was just a lot of fun to do after getting the comic done, which was expensive and interesting.
I can sympathize with that.
Yeah.
It is not an easy task.
Yep. So this is just a storefront for both a digital and physical copy. I have the comic available on Global Comics as well, in digital form. But if you want a physical one, I can ship one to you. You just have to choose that as a reward.
Awesome. Let me actually. Oh, I always do this. I copy the wrong thing. There we go. All right, let me start putting these links in the chat so we can let people take a look as we're taking a look at them. All right, so this is the digital version, which is PDF, same price, which is nice.
Yep.
Get a whole snippet here. So this is the cover. I like that.
Yep, that is the standard cover. For the special edition campaign, I tapped an artist called Josan and oh good gosh, my brain is
it's okay.
exploding with the name of the other one. Yeah. Jose Garcia. That was the other one. Jose Garcia nice. To do variant covers that were incredible. But they were only available in the campaign for the special edition versions.
But that's something for people to look forward to in future projects from you, right? So it's awesome. All right. So let's get into what the story is about. So it looks like it takes place in Japan based on this. So tell us a little about the hero. I'm guessing, or the main character. I'm guessing it's this guy right here.
Yep. And at first he is not a hero.
Oh, okay.
So the story, this is an adaptation of a novel series that I've been writing. I'm a novelist by nature. I started doing that because I was under the misguided impression that you couldn't create comic books without a company like Marvel, DC, or something backing you. And with the advent of the new comics market, I went, well, if they can do it, why can't I? And started looking at it. Hey, JVP.
I keep forgetting I show the chat up there, so apologies, chat.
My man. He also has a really cool visual audio comic that he does on YouTube called Ruthless. It's like a heavy metal apocalypse story.
Yep. He was actually one of my first guests for this. Yeah. It was awesome. I was playing his video. I'm like sitting in my chair. I'm like, yeah, this is awesome.
Yep. But the story revolves around two characters, and the first one is the young man there with the sword. He is called Gabriel. It's a code name. He is a member of a assassin unit raised and trained by one of the mega corporations in this futuristic semi-dystopian Tokyo that's walled itself off from the rest of the world. And the companies that run everything, in order to keep up public appearances, because it is Japan, they allowed the government to ban any sort of lethal weaponry. So even the police only use non-lethal means to subdue criminals. But in doing that, they also went, okay, well, now we can't screw with each other in brutal fashion, so we have to go back to the old ways. And they all started training ninja and samurai of a certain sort and wage war with each other in the streets, just covertly. They cover it up. So Gabriel is a member of the Suzakushin Corporation Holy Eight, a group of 8 enhanced killers that work for Suzakushin Corporation. Gabriel was raised as a weapon, not a person. And in the beginning, he has very little personality until he meets the young lady there on the ground. she is a sex trafficked girl who was trapped in a brothel and inappropriately used for quite some time. And through a strange circumstance, which if you have the ability to zoom in, you'll see the strange circumstances actually in the little girl's hands.
A little hamster?
Yes, that is a guinea pig.
Guinea pig.
You find out in the comic in the beginning of the story that the guinea pig was trolling its way through mouse and rat holes in the brothel, ended up in her room, and just so happened to make its escape through the door when it opened for a client. And the door didn't shut behind the client because of the guinea pig. It actually closed on the guinea pig's butt and didn't quite latch. So she sees the doors open and makes her grand escape, and just happens to make it out into the rain in this alley and walk right into Gabriel, who at first doesn't care because he's not designed to care. But her fascination with and her kind-heartedness towards the guinea pig reminds him of his life before the conditioning. It sort of like awakens something inside of him. And so he decides to defend her from the sex traffickers that want to bring her back, takes her home with him for the night, and comes to find out that the company doesn't find that very appropriate. And they want him to not associate with this girl, obviously. And they have another purpose for him, which is more sinister, but that's a teaser. And he ends up at odds with his own corporation, which means he has to fight off the 7 other assassins in his highly powered unit as they come for her, and by proxy him.
Ooh, that's intense. You give me chills. That's awesome. I like the catalyst for the meeting, which is the guinea pig. I love that. It's like it's such an innocent thing. For
the innocent
very
MacGuffin was
non-innocent.
really fun. Yeah. And there is a bit of personal history there. The guinea pig is an homage to my daughter's first pet that she owned and took care of on her own.
That's cute. So is that guinea pig is basically like the end game rat that is basically like the catalyst of the villain's downfall?
The real plot.
The guinea pig has a greater purpose in the ultimate run of the story, but you won't learn about that unless you read the book.
Yeah, we can't spoil everything.
Yeah.
I'm calling it now. It's actually a deity.
And because I thought it would be really fun, and I was talking with my daughter about it, we're storyboarding some mini comic adventures of the guinea pig because it's precocious and will just go do whatever it wants to do, regardless of whether they want it to stay in its box or not.
I like this. Cute. This is awesome. I like that you have a personal reason for adding stuff in, but it still ties in with the story. It's not just, well, I wanted to. It has a purpose.
Yes.
I love that. And I really like this image too, because I think it captures everything really well. Like,
yeah, that image was inspired by a art commission I requested from an artist who goes by Kenny David on Twix. That's what we call Twitter/X. In the IAK group, Twix. Gotcha. So I commissioned that shortly after the first book was written, and I sent him the book, the artist, for free. And I just said, hey, give this a page through, find something that you find interesting about it, and make me a picture. And what he came back with was up here on my wall, if I can take it off, which is this, almost a movie poster.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Like a fully painted movie poster.
Oh my god.
Dang, that is amazing.
That artist said, I understood the assignment. I'm just gonna roll with it.
Right?
Yeah, I was absolutely blown away. And then when I was talking with my comic artist, Kevin, about doing the comic, I said, okay, somewhere in the middle here, when we get to the specific point, I want to recreate this image that Kenny made with your style. So this is the image. I would like to see it incorporated in. And so we have that. Kevin's interpretation of Kenny's work.
This is awesome. If I had to say, it's such a like unique situation. You have two different artists, and a different artist was able to capture the same like mood and tone and emotion of the other one, but in his own style. That's a rarity, I think. That's awesome.
Yeah, it was really cool. And these guys are extremely talented. I love working with them.
Oh, that's awesome. Now I'm like, so when is the second one coming?
We are almost done. Kevin is wrapping up the a set of 10 to 20 pages. Each comic is a 32-page floppy. So he's almost finished with 10 through 20. So I'd say about a month. I'm thinking beginning of May I'll be getting the next campaign set up. And we'll be doing the color pop and running it. So my hope, if I can keep the funding up with these issues, is to produce at least 3 this year, do 3 next year, which rounds out the story arc, and basically run that as the play with each book. As I produce each book, there will be like a 2-year period where the comics come out afterwards.
Very neat. I like that. That's a lot coming out, but that's going to be awesome. This is going to be a really great series for people to get into. And because I totally got sidetracked with the art and everything else, let me play your trailer because you guys put work into this. I want to make sure I share it. All right, so I'm going to mute everybody.
And then I'll tell you a little bit about it after.
Awesome. All right.
Yeah. It's a 30-second teaser. The music was created by a independent musician, Everly Music, really good friend of mine, and I approached him with the concept of it and went, so you know all those really cool high-intensity J-pop songs that you hear in anime intros? I want one of those.
Oh,
and he was like,
awesome.
He was like, okay, give me a couple of weeks.
That's awesome, but it matches that. Like, you guys are really good at finding people, like the right people to do this stuff for you. I'm just going to say that right now because that's.
It was absolute luck. I was just sort of hanging around the indie sphere with Gis and I just finished the first book and talking with people on Twix, and then I ended up getting involved with Royce, A Drink with Crazy's Gilded server, and I host on Iron Age Nights on Friday nights and met everybody that way. We just started talking, and some of them were like, hey, so I do this, and I went, ooh, that would be a really good idea. Let me send them a message. So it's pure luck.
That's awesome, though. That hey, when things work out like that, that means you got something going, you know?
Yeah.
Let's go. Oh, you got 2 back here. So
there's a longer version, but that was only for the special edition campaign, and that had color pop stills incorporated into it. We did a bigger production for the campaign. It was a lot of fun.
This looks awesome. I'm kind of sad I didn't get you on for the color pop one, but hey, that means we have to bring you back when number 2 comes out.
Yeah.
Right?
Come back for number 2. We'll talk again.
Yes. I would love to see how the color pop works out in the second book. This whole thing sounds like a lot of fun and a really intense story, but I think everything is captured so well with these characters. You just capture.
Yeah, it has its moments. I mean, the premise is very action oriented, and it's kind of a throwback to the much older generation of anime and manga stuff, Akira style, where things are a little bit darker, but there's moments of personal joy and like that slice of life accenting that make it all worthwhile. You know, the guinea pig doing silly stuff in the background, the interplay between Hannah and Gabriel, because she is a person. She's just a person who's gone through a traumatic event, so she reacts to things like everybody else would, and Gabriel sort of reacts to things like an attack dog. He doesn't really have considerations beyond that. He just sort of drifts through life until someone says, hey, that needs to die, and then he goes, okay, and he pulls his sword out and he kills them. But defending her allows him to go on this journey of rediscovery of what it is to be a person and what he finds he really wants to do with his life, which is be her family. You know.
I like that. I love stories like that. That's awesome. And it's kind of nice to see a character go on that journey too, because they're kind of like learning to be human again in a way.
Yep.
Even though they've obviously gone through life for so long, it's like, oh wait, there's more to life than this. You know, it's you see like little doors open for them. I love that.
Yeah, and I wrote the novels in a specific format of action sequence, slice of life sequence, and then it just hopped back and forth between the two. So you had chapters of blistering violence, showcasing just how well and truly skilled Gabriel is, and then you had these moments where he had to learn why people felt the way that they did, and he would be watching her as she talked to the guinea pig and fed it stuff and like cared for it, and he would eventually tap into some old emotions and memories that then connected to what she was doing, so he could grasp the purpose behind it and grow from chapter to chapter. And it wasn't just all hack and slash, you know, chopping people's limbs off and that crazy fun.
I like hack and slash too, just saying.
Yeah, it was fun to create, and it was like a really good blend of action and personal drama. So it's not, you know, comics in the mainstream is a lot of yapping these days, not as much of the fun stuff. So I wanted to find a nice balance between the two, and manga is a great way to do that. The reason I chose a manga art style was because I was writing the books like a cinematic script almost, but in novelization form. And everybody that came to me with their reviews of it were like, this thing reads like one of those dark, awesome manga, you know, one of those really cool, graphic, violent anime. And I went, well, if we're going to make a comic, let's go manga.
Yep. Just might as well go all the way, right? I like that. So this little bunny symbol, is that from the corporation?
No, that is a bigger part of his background. And the reason why Hannah, and how she treats the guinea pig struck a chord with him. That'll be explained in issue 2.
Oh, okay. So we're not even there yet.
Nope.
Sorry. Pointing out details that aren't even there yet. So
well, it's
awesome.
One of those details that if you're really looking at the image, you'll notice it. And it's enough of an interesting symbol for someone to go, why is there a little bunny head on his sword?
I like that, because in a way it kind of hints that there's going to be something to contrast his like violence and just lack of not humanity, but just being person, because she kind of can be like that bunny in a way. That
little bit.
Innocence that pops in. I don't know.
A little bit. In the comic we represent, my artist and I were batting back and forth how to do this properly, but visually in the comics we represent the change from mindless, heartless killer to protector, defender through the lens of that history of why there's a little bunny symbol on his sword. So through most of the fighting in the beginning of the comic, every slash is just your standard shape of widening arc. But after he moves to defend Hannah, there's almost like a spirit rabbit running through the slash.
Ooh.
And that gets explained in issue number 2 as to why that's so important and what that represents in the way that he's now wielding his weapon and, using his skills to defend her instead of just be a murderer.
That's interesting. That's awesome. There's a lot of lore behind that, that's always good because that means there's more coming.
Oh, yeah.
Very
It's
cool.
a lot to get through. And if you're interested in the lore behind it, I have character files on all of the Holy Eight killers and how they fit together, and in there more information about Suzakshin Corporation itself. That's all, I said this might happen, but that's all on my Ream site.
Very cool. Well, link it in the chat, or link it somewhere. I'll send it to the chat.
Yeah.
Speaking of other links, let's go to your whimsyland.org, because I see you talking about this a lot, and I really appreciate you having this for other people. So it's a coaching service, correct?
It's coaching and literary services. So I offer editing of books as well as comic scripts. I've done a couple of small production movie scripts, and
very cool
coaching sessions with anyone who's interested in learning how to write consistently and efficiently, as kind of like I do. And I show that on Sundays when I do my freelancer creator stream.
Oh, very cool. We need more of that, because I think a lot of people I know when I was starting off, I was getting stuck a lot, and I had to find people like you to stream or videos or whatever it was to help me get through a lot of my stuck points.
Yep,
so
that is
really
exactly
cool.
what happened to me. And that's where Whimsyland came from. After I had written an entire trilogy of fantasy novels before I jumped into the indie sphere, and I did it without help. I just read as much as I could on the internet, which wasted a ton of time and gave me conflicting results. So when I got into the indie sphere and I saw all these people with all these questions, I said, okay, well, I'm going to start answering some with the information that I now have. And eventually that turned into, well, maybe I can make a business out of it that can help the most people efficiently and not break their banks like everybody else does.
Yep.
So Whimsyland was born from that. And 3 years later, I'm my own boss.
I love this. You get your testimonials here. This is such a good, important thing too, because you can see how much influence and help you've given other people. And I think that's always
it's so cool.
Yeah. It's just
the most rewarding part of it is when it's all said and done, anyone just goes, dude, thanks. I didn't know what to do about this, and now I have a plan. Thank you. And I'm like, that's all I ever wanted.
That is awesome. Well, I think if you in the chat or anyone watching later are unsure about where to start, definitely get in contact with Daniel. He really puts his best foot forward when talking about this. I see him on Twitter all the time talking about he will help you and work with you. He's not there to tell you what to do, but to help you do what you want in the end. So if you have a goal in mind, he'll help you get there.
And if you're worried about my actual credentials, I was a teacher for a decade.
Well, that helps because it's very hard to teach people.
Yep.
I know. So I'm hard to teach sometimes, and then I also help others on my own channel here. It is quite a challenge in a good way.
The multicolored buttons at the top are links to various other things where you can find my books. I have a merch store, which is the commissions I've collected in t-shirts and mugs and stuff like that. There's also comic stills like this one.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah.
I like that.
And I have a Discord server called Laureate where there's 75 creators that hang out there and argue / share information with each other like we do.
That's what happens with creatives. We're very stubborn. We're very passionate. There we go.
We like the term headstrong.
Headstrong.
We'll go with that.
Yeah. All right. Let me put your Ream in here. Let me copy that. So I know Ream is not relatively new, but I've been hearing way more about it for authors. New. and I hear really good things about it.
Yep, it is pretty new. I just started it a little bit ago.
Are there spoilers on here? Because I see
a little bit, but
Okay.
I don't mind.
Okay.
The image at the top there is the Holy 8 assassins in a row.
So cute.
All 7 of them minus Gabriel. And yeah, I had to use the guinea pig popcorning as a image because it's just cute. Yep.
It's fun. Awesome. So if you want to support someone, if you go to the Ream, you can get some. This is purely writer focused, correct? Like
writer focused and fan focused. At the bottom of the page, you'll see I have 3 things that I've posted. Working on a character creator how-to guide. I've done an easy outline guide called the Order of Operations, and then there's the G Sedai lore files about the Holy 8.
Ooh, I'm going to look at that character. This is.
I put one of the lore files behind a paywall because it had some serious spoilers in it, but the rest of them are open for everybody to look at.
That's okay. That's awesome. So you got some free stuff to look at. So that would help, like, make a final decision to back this or just to get the copy, which in my opinion, you don't really need it. I think it looks awesome on its own. I love the panels. I love the story. I love the characters. I like how there's a lot of lore in here waiting to be discovered.
And we haven't even gotten all the characters yet.
Oh man, that's awesome. I love that. That's why book 1s are like the coolest things ever, but then it sucks because you're like, wait, where's book 2? Come on, let's get it.
Yep, you gotta wait for the next one.
That's awesome. Well, thank you for sharing this with everyone and letting me share it with everyone else and talk about it with you. I learned a lot, and I know I'm in the right for wanting to get this. So it's been on I have a long list of things I need to get, and my wallet can only handle so much at once. So
the book tree right there,
those
first top 2 pieces are all indie books I purchased over the last year or so.
Nice. Yeah, I have a big pile growing. I need a long box and a proper shelf, and it's a mess. I love this.
I assume eventually the whole tree is going to be filled up with indie products.
That's probably what my office is going to turn into.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for sharing that. Any last words or anything before we move on to Kris?
Yeah, if you want to talk to me, you can follow me on Twix, as I said, X or Twitter, whatever you want to call it, at Mr. DP Riley, MasterDPRiley.
Awesome. I think it's on your Fund My Comic right here too. I saw that and it confused me at first. I'm like, oh wait, Twitter next.
I like channel lore, so because I love lore, so got to play with it, represent,
Yep. All right, so we're gonna move on to Kris Faction.
That's me.
Girl. Yes, another fun. Oh my gosh, let me get the link. So my spreadsheet is really weird. I'll copy what's in there, but it won't actually copy anything until I go to the text box itself, not the cell. Because that makes all the sense in the world.
Of course.
All right, so another Fund My Comic. Yeah.
Seed.
Another Fund My Comic campaign, which is awesome. So this looks really cool. I was like, whoa, you guys have really cool projects, like everyone that has come on so far. It's just, I feel out of just little comparison. I'm like, oh, okay, I'll just hide in my corner.
Everyone stopped somewhere.
Yes,
no shame, true. No need for inferiority complexes, just to make cool stuff.
Exactly.
It's like you're starstruck like that. So this looks awesome. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Kris. What's going on here?
I am some crazy guy that was like, hey, I'm going to make a comic book. And so here I am. I got a background in the military, background in music. So, I mean, music didn't help make this, but the background in the military did help with the story structure and character personalities and things like that. But essentially, Nano-13 is 3,000 years ago, aliens invaded the Earth. So think like Bronze Age era, and they enslaved mankind. So fast forward to we'll call it modern times. It's actually in the 2040s, but close enough.
Yeah, close enough.
There's this group here. They were all born as slaves, and they were liberated, and now they have these nanotech powers. They've only had them for a very short time, and so they're kind of trying to figure them out. And their mission is to take their planet back and kick some alien butt.
Awesome. I like that. This is really cool. It's really hard to like capture sci-fi well, and I think you did it. Like from the logo to just overall the colors too. Like it's got that old school just feel to it. That old school sci-fi feel, you know.
Right. I could not ask for a better team on this book. You know, Ron did all the pencils and inks. And I mean, when I saw some of his work, I was like, this is the guy I got to have for the book. And then Jay Brown, most people know him from G.I. Joe.
Nice.
When I talked to him, he was like, he gave me a list of like art of color styles. And he was like, 90s sci-fi is what this is. And I was like, yeah, that's definitely what I'm going for. And so yeah,
that's awesome.
He killed it. And then Mark Polton is editing for me. He's taught me a lot, you know, because this is my first comic book project. And so, you know, just showing me the ropes and you know, helping out in that way.
That's awesome. Like the colors on this are really cool. I love how it just pops out.
Oh yeah.
Everything about this looks really cool. Oh, this is so awesome. I love like the cool borders on here. It's not just, it matches what's happening. It's very, not, I want to say gritty, but you know, it's kind of
Ron is really good at making the borders match the kind of tone of the page. And so yeah, that's, I mean, you'll see in some pages where the borders are really crazy looking because it's like an alien scene, you know, and you're like, oh wow, it's kind of twisted.
I like that though. I like when the borders match what's happening. It just adds another element to it. You know, it brings you really into the story. I like that. This looks so awesome. All right, so let's watch. Oh, also I like the logo here. This looks really
thanks. Tattooed on my arm.
Oh, very cool. Full screen you so everyone can see it. There you go. Oh, that's so cool. I love it. All right.
That's
so
cool.
We do have, look at that, sold out.
Yeah, we had some original art and it sold out first.
Very nice.
Yeah.
That's got to feel good.
Right?
That is awesome. And then you have the actual book for $20, so 42 pages, and then you have a retail pack. So if you have a local comic book store and you say, hey, go here, make them buy some of these comics so everybody gets a chance.
Yes, like that is always the reason for having a retail pack. The indies, you know, I encourage people to do retail packs and then tell their backers, and you know, hey, when you get the books, like, yeah, I know the resale market on eBay is cool and everything, but let's get them on the shelves in our local shops.
Yeah, you can get new readers and new people introduced to comics that way. I mean, the younger generation, they need more variety.
Yes,
know?
They do.
And
they really do.
I think I can see my teenage brother wanting something like this.
Yes.
This is action and intense and aliens, sci-fi. It's right up his alley. Awesome.
Yeah.
All right. We're going to play the trailer.
Sweet.
Before I forget. Sorry, guys. All right. We're going to mute everybody so we don't get any echo.
giving in. Disconnect from the system. We'll let the parasites win. Everything's going up in flames, and the world grows in decay. But it'll still be okay if we hold on to this. Jackboots and destruction, division and hate, endless lines and destruction. They're desired and sage. Dying weak, running.
All right. So that was awesome. Those were some pretty cool alien designs. I was like, oh, okay. We're going really crazy here.
Yeah.
Those are really cool.
Yeah,
So-
so the aliens are technically they're an insectoid species, but they're obsessed with things like eugenics and genetic manipulation, and sometimes they experiment on themselves. You know,
Gotcha.
and they're just kind of generally like evil. I mean,
Yeah.
I wanted my villains to be evil.
Yeah. Yes. A
Yeah,
good.
the second
evil
one you
villain.
just got Mexican, I assume so.
Yeah, and I mean, and the world that they live in is extremely dystopian. Like,
Oh yeah, that looked very, very
yeah.
bleak. But
yeah,
I like that though, because we need villains who are just pure evil. So it's nice to know that no, there is no misunderstanding. They're just horrible villains, you know.
exactly. Like you're never going to have sympathy for any of my villains. Well, I don't know. Maybe there's one in there. Maybe in the future, not in this book.
future. Okay. Maybe.
Maybe.
Maybe like a little bit, but
Yeah.
Awesome. So tell us more about like what inspired you to make this. You said your military background did have a play in it.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I grew up reading comics. I'm old enough to remember when they were, on the newsstands in the grocery stores, and so I've been reading for a while. My teenage years was the 90s, so I mean, I was reading Death of Superman and Age of Apocalypse and Nightfall and all that. So that's big influence. But this story is they're essentially a tactical fire team. And, I took my experience in the military and just kind of used that to show the dynamic of a fire team. You have 4 different personalities, but they all work in unison. They all work as a unit. They're one singular thing, even though sometimes their personalities may clash here and there. And, and then you throw in the things that we didn't have in the military, like superpowers.
Yeah. Not yet.
You get to do the things that you wish you could have done. It's like, man, if I was had some superpowers, I wouldn't have to climb into this window. I could just jump up there.
That's kind of nice. Like you kind of take moments where I wish I had this, and then you can write it in there and be like, see, I knew it would work.
Yeah, exactly. And so everybody always asks, why Nano-13? Well, technically there are 13 nano-powered characters. This story focuses on the lead team of 4, but you're going to see 11 of them in this book in one capacity or another. And there are 2 that there's a mystery to where they are. And
so it's kind of like you're building up the team as the story goes on, or is
it
it all in this book or in future books?
Future books. So I have 5 Nano-13 scripts completely written.
Oh wow!
Working, I'm about 2/3 of the way through number 6, and I also have a one-shot that I wrote as well.
That is great. That's a lot. Oh my gosh. So if you guys want this book, you're gonna have a lot coming your way soon.
Yeah, for sure. And this isn't, backers bless me. This isn't going to be the only title. After issue number 3, it's going to break off into 3 more titles beyond this one.
Ooh.
So, and because one of the things in this world that this story takes place in Europe, and the aliens use each continent for a specific thing. In Europe, it's small arms manufacturing. So all the slaves, all they do is manufacture small arms to feed the armies of the Zerus, to fight their eternal enemy somewhere off in the cosmos that we'll get to one day. But on each continent has a different purpose. So after issue 3, we're gonna branch out and see the rest of the world, and you can find out.
I like that. That's a really cool concept.
Yeah,
that's gonna be really interesting because it makes sense. So you want to isolate everything versus do it all in one place.
Yeah, that
the alien perspective,
right, yeah, exactly, and that's like. They literally control everything, and like I said, they're obsessed with like eugenics and genetics. So some of the dystopian things that they have is like races and ethnicities. There is no crossover. They don't allow any type of like interracial breeding. Everything is selected. You're essentially bred to do a job, and that's it. And once your usefulness is at its end, then if you're a male, then you end up having 2 options. Well, I say options, they're forced upon you, is they decide that your genetics don't need to carry on, and they just recycle you. And if they do decide that you are of desirable stock, it's kind of this horrible thing where they pump you full of teenage hormones and unleash you on females. So
like cattle, basically.
yeah.
They're essentially treated like cattle.
And all of the human females are breeding slaves. So like you can see this character here, Akari, with the one with the sword. If you go in understanding that like she's a female, so we know what kind of slave she was, then you can understand her animosity towards the villain in this story, because he's the like lead geneticist that pretty much pairs up, does all the breeding, and makes sure that everything is how the alien hierarchy wants it to go on Earth as far as that goes. So she's kind of got a little bit more of a personal vendetta than the rest of them.
I wouldn't blame her.
Right? Exactly. And although the story takes place in Europe, and I told you there is no mixing of races, the aliens don't allow that. She's from Japan. So how did she get to Europe? There's a little mystery there that will have to be fleshed out in later issues. And
so it seems like even with all the aliens and like attempt to separate everybody, it seems like there's like a little bit of a leak happening.
Freedom will find a way.
Yes.
Like I had to essentially write a timeline that goes back pretty far, and because the main characters, they actually live in a free city that's inside of a mountain in the Swiss Alps. And, like there has to be some sort of resistance. And then, like if I'm going to have a free city, well, how is it established and things like that? So I took history that I knew, because I'm a big history nerd. And then I'm like, okay, so the aliens invade during the Bronze Age. What are some historical figures that happened after that? How can I throw that into, my little timeline, and, maybe introduce some cool stories that can be told later. But one of the things is that in around 531, 532 AD, there's a big rebellion. And Justinian, the actual historical figure, leads a rebellion against the aliens. At that point in time, the aliens were very similar to the Roman Empire. They were oppressive, but not this oppressive. And that triggers the extreme dystopia and oppression. They're like, we can't have that happen again. But upon Justinian being defeated, some of his followers established 3 free cities inside Europe, and one of them is where these characters live.
Ooh. I love when people can take history and like rewrite it like that. It's always interesting. It's fun. I'm like, I know who this is in historical context, and it's really cool to see a totally different like reality, because it's like you get to play with what would they have done in that situation. You kind of like take a character observation of them and change it, or not change it, but adapt it to the new reality, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you very well could just be like, well, since the aliens landed, all the history we know would be erased. But I don't think that's interesting enough. I think like there was another rebellion where Spartacus and Gaius Glaber actually team up instead of fighting each other, and they get squashed in an hour or so. But I just like throwing things like that in there. If the characters are able to have a history that they can reach into, then that really helps move the story forward.
Yes,
because they can, they've got something to grasp onto. I mean, it's just like real life. If you don't know where you came from, then how do you know where to go?
Exactly. And for a reader too, I think it helps kind of pull you closer to the story, because you have something sort of in common with what's happening. Like, I understand that historical context, it brings you closer to it. It's a new way to connect with the reader, and I like stories like that too. So that is awesome that you've done that, and I like this too. So I'm gonna keep scrolling.
I know some people have told me I should have put more pages up there, but I was like, honestly, I think the 3 pages we put up on there, and then if you follow me on Twitter, usually about once a week, I post the first 3 pages of the book that are lettered, and I do that essentially, to say, hey, follow me on Twitter,
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
And then you guys can go look at it. But I mean, what you have here, though, I think it shows what the story is about. You get an idea of the characters, who the characters kind of are, and just the dystopian world that you've set up. I think you've shared plenty in the few pages you have. It's not too much, and it's not too little.
Yeah, I just, I wanted to give people the sense of like what, like with this double page spread, this is the landscape, that they live in. And then, the next page, you get to see a little bit of the aliens, a little bit of a fight. You get the close up of Crixus and his crazy eyes, to kind of let you know that these guys aren't just normal people. They have some kind of powers, and they fight aliens. And then with the last page, just showing like the villain and, a little bit of the alien architecture that's on the interiors of these buildings, because you got to think that like their buildings are built by human slaves. So on the outside, they would probably look, like they were built by human hands. But when you get on the inside where the aliens, dwell, it gets a lot more alien.
Yeah, that makes sense, because they're living in there, so they would be adapting it to what they're used to and what they need or what they want, especially with their research and everything else. Humans aren't going to know any of that.
Yeah, it's one of those things where the slaves themselves are really kind of, their education is literally like what your job for the rest of your life, is what you're taught. But obviously those that, have access to free people, their technology is a lot more advanced because over the millennia, they've, taken technology from the Xerus and, figured it out and made their own. And, you know, and in the free cities, you know, I mean, like they're always trying to figure out how can we free the rest of the world. It's a struggle that's, you know, never ending.
Yeah, that's a huge weight.
Yeah.
Them. Like that's, oof.
Yeah. And that's, you know, I mean, the vast majority of the characters have tragic backstories, you know, to some extent. You know, that, and I tell people, you're never going to get a linear origin story for these characters from me. I'm gonna do like Wolverine before they dumped his background on everybody. It's gonna be it's gonna be little puzzle pieces that the reader can put together, and you know, because that's the fun, you know.
You get to solve it as you're reading, you know.
Yeah, and it gives the reader room to speculate. And I think that you know, in science fiction and comics, that's part of the fun. You know, is really like, you know, oh man, did they come from this? Did it happen this way? And I just, you know, I'm constantly dropping little tidbits of information throughout the stories, because I want, at the end of the story, I want you to have a whole bunch of questions, but I want to answer a lot of your questions in, you know, in the next book, and then, you know, so on and so forth.
You're leading them to the next book, because there's cliffhangers in a way.
Yeah. Oh yeah. When you get to the last 3 pages, especially the last page, you're gonna be like, yeah, when's number 2 coming out? I'm ready.
Well, you're already on number 6 with the script, so we
right.
Hopefully soon. No, but I like that. I think the way you set this up for this genre and everything else is perfect. I think everything is exactly as it should be for this type of story. You know, you're not spilling all the information out. The readers get to learn about everything as they go on and speculate, like you said. And with the sci-fi story, you want that. Like when I think sci-fi, I don't normally think about any story that just spills it all out for me, you know, within the first 10 minutes. Usually it's like a gradual learning, but you have just enough like little crumbs to be like, well, is it like that or is it like this? And it's not till later you're like, oh, I was right about that, or I was way off the mark on that, you know.
Well, you know, it's things like you know, in Star Wars: A New Hope, you fought in the Clone Wars, and then for 20 plus years we were like, what was the Clone Wars? You know, those are the kind of things that sci-fi nerds like myself absolutely love. You know, now hopefully I don't drop some nugget that I have to explain in 20 years. I'd like you to get it a little sooner. But
well, I think you're okay in that. You got a lot already done. So
right. Yeah, it's and it's going to be an ever expanding kind of thing. This iteration, I guess you could say, is going to be 13 issues of the main title, and then the subsequent titles. Each one of those will be more traditional 24-page books, and each title there will get 6 issues. And then I've got the one shot written, and I kind of, when I finished up issue number 5, I was like, I think I'm gonna have to write a number 2 to that one shot. I don't know.
I love when that happens. It's like, one's enough. Oh no.
I was like, there's just all this information that I have to address, and yeah, so we'll see.
That's awesome. But so if you guys are watching this now or later, you have a lot coming your way with this. Oh, yeah. So you're going to be excited. So when is number 2 going to come out?
We are going to start production on number 2 in May.
Okay.
So
nice magical month.
Right. So I'm looking at a release around the same time as this one next year.
Okay. Yeah. Awesome. So that means people got some time to save up some dollars and, you know, prepare for the next campaigns that you guys are going to be putting out, because everything seems to be around the corner. So
Right.
awesome. That's actually good though, because they can go buy this now, and then when they're done, they don't have to wait too long. Get number 2 and all the goodies, right?
Exactly. And the next campaign, we're gonna ramp it up. Like this one, this is my first book. I wanted to keep it real simple, because I was essentially learning how to do everything, and I was like, okay, don't overwhelm yourself. Just keep it simple. But the next one, we will have a catch up tier, but come on, guys, get the
Yes.
Yeah, we're gonna throw some other goodies in there, and it's gonna be awesome.
Awesome. That is exciting. Well, thank you for letting us take a look at this and sharing it and letting me promote it and pitch it for everyone.
Absolutely.
I like this. This does look like a lot of fun. I mean, like I said, I know I'm saying it for everybody, but I am generally saying it. It does. Everything you guys have brought has looked like a lot of fun, and I love the range of genres that we have tonight. We went from just like it's cool magic superheroes to samurai, not samurais, but just Japanese swords and stuff like that, and now sci-fi. So we have a little bit of everything tonight. This is really cool though. I will say I like the colors on this a lot. I know I said it already, but just that bright neon that is there really makes the stuff pop, and I really do like that. I mean, it's just subtle on every page. So just saying that now.
When I got the first few pages of colors, I was like blown away. I was like, whoa, I'm really doing this. This is awesome.
Yeah. And it also helps with the panels. Like this is more a realistic scene, but it makes sense because it's establishing where you are. And then as each panel goes on, they become more vibrant again to bring that intensity back in.
Yeah.
So it's just very, very well done.
Well, and I got a few great compliments from my team, one being from the colorist. Like I said, he's known for his work on G.I. Joe. And he said, I love this book because it is chock full of action. When the guy that colored G.I. Joe says, I like your book for the action, you're going the right direction.
Yep. You have the G.I. Joe approval. Yeah.
Yeah.
You can't get any better than that.
Exactly. And then my editor, Mark Polton, was like, this reminds me of old school Malibu Comics X-Mutants. And then he commented on the big reveal at the end. He was like, oh, I can't wait to know more about that.
That is awesome. That's always like rewarding to just have people like that tell you you're going in the right direction, because especially when you're with your first book, it's just like, oh, thank God.
Exactly. Like, I did a lot of, at first, because I've never written a comic book script, until now. I spent most of my life in music. I know how to write music, but, formatting a comic book script, I was, really kind of like, this is new territory. So what I did initially was I wrote a really short 8-page script, and I looked at people that were on their first campaigns, and I was like, hey, do you mind taking a look at, this little short script that I wrote, and just give me a real quick critique, so I can start figuring out if I'm going in the right direction. And, I listened and, figured out what I needed to do, change things, leave things the same, whatever. And then I was like, okay, now I'm ready to go ahead and flesh out the full story. And then I just started rolling with it.
Nice. It's always good to have people look at it too. I did that, and I was like, oh my gosh, just tell me what's wrong.
Yeah.
Well,
and in selecting an editor, Mark Polton has, in the indie space, he has fulfilled like 20 campaigns.
Wow.
So he's a veteran in that space, and he worked for Image, he worked for DC, before he left mainstream comics, he was writing Savage Hawkman. So, I knew like I need professional eyes, to take a look at this and, let me know, if I'm going in the right direction. And I mean, he was completely just the whole time, even his editor's notes, it was just like, this is freaking awesome. So, yeah.
Yay. That is, I love when that happens. When you have someone in your camp like that, it's like, yes, you're doing the right thing. Mm-hmm. This is awesome. It just makes you, you're more excited to keep going.
Yeah. Exactly.
It builds up that momentum as a creator. And
it's super motivating, and and knowing that you're headed in the right direction, as far as the storytelling goes, and and my artist, he and I, we really have a synergy. Like he read the script and immediately like fell in love with it, understood the world that I was, building. And I mean, I let him pretty much run free. Like, I mean, I'm like, dude, you get it. You and I are on the same page. You just go for it, man. I'm not an artist, so I'm not going to tell you how to do your job.
Well, he did a phenomenal job. Yeah. He understood what you wanted, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
He portrayed it really well. Like this looks just awesome. I know I keep saying that, but it does. Oh, that's so cool.
Well, thank you. And shout out to Order of the Fly, who did the music on my trailer. They've been really good friends of mine for a long time, and their new album, Desolation Park, released a couple of months ago. And the song New Machine off of that album is what's the track on the trailer.
Very awesome. I love that. And you get to work with other creators like that. You can the cross promotion there. You guys have great music, and I like that you're able to work with someone who can do that original music for you.
And it's really fun, and I've known those guys for like 15 years. I toured with them back in 2009, and we've always stayed in touch. They live out on the West Coast, and I live in Texas, but
and so you can still be friends.
That's right. And we get to see each other every few years or so.
Yeah,
it's nice.
Very awesome. All right, so we're gonna wrap it up. There's a lot to look at here, guys. Everyone, do you have any other links before?
No, just that.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, but you do have more coming our way, so just keep an eye out. Make sure to follow these guys. Bookmark everything. Everything is on Fund My Comic. So if you forget where to go, Fund My Comic. They're all there. Every single one of them. Because we all love Fund My Comic here.
It's a place to be.
Yes. Lots of good stuff. And they have lots of more continuation of these stories coming very soon. We got one coming in spring, two coming in May. Is that correct? Both of you, Daniel and Kris?
Should be around there, yeah.
Around there? Okay. So you guys got a couple months to save up your dollars. Come on, you can do it. All right. So thank you guys for coming out and being on the Indie Takeover. I hope you enjoyed your time here, and I hope you guys check out the stuff. So we're going to end the night here. Everyone have a good night. Thank you for coming out. Make sure to like the video so this gets promoted in the algorithm so more people can see it on replay.
There you go.
Yes. All right. Thank you guys so much. And we're going to end the stream. Have a good one.
Yep, it's been a pleasure.